My name is Kiyan Prince, and I am a professional footballer. Or at least I would have been, had I not been killed when I was 15.
Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. I really appreciate you joining me today, and this story comes from North London, and it's about a case that actually happened 15 years ago. But today, FIFA and the Kiyan Prince Foundation Trust have announced that he will be appearing in the new game in the Queen's Park Rangers football team in FIFA 21. They have also announced that they are renaming their stadium at Loftus Road to the Kiyan Prince Foundation Stadium after the fans voted for this. This is a moving tribute to the promising young footballer who lost his life outside the school gates in an argument while trying to defend somebody. Very similar to the story yesterday of Reece Cox, where he stuck up for somebody. FIFA released promotional material today showing Kiyan scoring a goal. He takes a shot with his left foot and watches it fly into the roof of the net. He runs off doing a celebration, and this is what you'll see in the game. If Kiyan was still alive, he would have been 30 years old this year, and he was one of the most promising talents in the QPR Academy, but sadly lost his life in 2006. Prince was a very popular boy, his headmaster said, and there was endless stories of his selfless behaviour and him just looking after people, and he was so loving. The Home Office statistics of that year, which I found quite interesting, was 205 children aged 17 or under had been attacked and killed with a sharp object in England and Wales. Players of the FIFA game can adopt Prince in career mode and make him their avatar as they go through the game. Players can also redeem prizes like custom QPR shirts with a link to the foundation services. The foundation was started by his father, Mark Prince. He's known as Dr. Mark Prince, OBE. And he works with young people, educating them on knife crime, and goes round schools as well. This guy has done so much to turn his life around after the loss of his son and the devastating effect this must have had on him.
There's two stories I want to tell you about my son, Kiyan. The first one is about how he lost his life to a young person carrying a knife. But I want to tell you the other story, the more powerful one, about the man he was destined to become.
Everyone used to talk about Kiyan, how much of a wonderful talent he was, and he was always destined to play at the top.
Were he alive today, Kiyan's hard work, positivity and his talent would have seen him become one of the stars of the game.
What a goal by Kiyan Prince!
Now I understand not everyone's got what it takes to become a pro baller, but everyone's got something that they're good at. So stand tall, stand strong, and let that be your story. Your only story.
On the day of his death, Kiyan was outside of school, and his last words were said to have been, "If these are my last words, tell my mum that I love her," as he lay bleeding to death. His mother, Tracy Cumberpatch, had turned up to the scene, but arrived after he had been taken to hospital and never saw him alive again. In an article in the Daily Mirror from the time of the murder, they said detectives were hunting a 16-year-old called Hanand Hassan. He had vanished after the killing, and police raided a flat nearby where he lived with his family, but they could not find him. Police sources say the Somali-born boy had been expelled from the academy in Edgware, northwest London, 4 weeks before the actual attack. But he had been returning to school and had been aggressive to children. Kiyan, they said, was a budding footballer with Queen's Park Rangers, and he was stabbed yards from the school gate as pupils were going home on Thursday. They said he was wearing QPR shorts, and he said, "Please don't let me die," as he lay on the ground. One friend said, who did not want to be named, that his last words were, "Tell my mum I love her." A police source said at the time that they had a suspect and they were looking for a 15-year-old boy. They believed the motive for the murder was disrespect or bullying. They are hearing that Kiyan had defended children from this boy on the day that it happened. and it appears that his killer wanted to teach Kiyan a lesson, and the murder weapon was actually a penknife, which is a very small knife and not something you'd associate much with murder. The teenager went on to be found guilty of Kiyan's murder. He was 17 at the time of his conviction, and Kiyan was 15 when he was killed. Hanad Hassan, who was 16 when he killed him, was from Colindale in North London, and he put Kiyan in a headlock and stabbed him with a penknife. He denied murder and admitted manslaughter, but the jury could not agree on a verdict, and a retrial was held, but abandoned 2 days later because Kiyan's father, Mark Prince, approached a member of the jury on her way home. The defendant was found guilty at the conclusion of the third trial by a majority of 11-1 after 3 days of deliberation. Hassan claimed the stabbing was an accident and said that the knife that he used was a little toy, and he told police that he'd been trying to poke Kiyan in the arm to tell him to get away from him. But Hassan had been in trouble for assaulting pupils before and had been suspended for urinating in front of a teacher weeks before. He had also threatened to stab a girl in a trivial dispute over a bus seat. No charges were given about that incident earlier on in the year at school, but witnesses on the bus came forward after they heard about Kiyan's killing. So there was a lot of evidence in the courtroom that convicted Hassan on the murder, and his family also lost their son to the system, and it just goes to show how ridiculous this all is. And something that I don't think has been mentioned enough in the actual articles as well is his dad. The Kiyan Prince Foundation was created by his dad, and he's the one that goes around ensuring that children hear this story and also motivationally speaking for them as well. He has been on Sky News, ITV, Channel 4 and also Russell Howard's show discussing his story and his powerful message, and most recently he was on Soccer AM where he discussed the unveiling of the Kiyan Prince Foundation Stadium and also the fact that he'd be appearing in the new computer game.
Latest today, QPR will officially unveil their new stadium name. Loftus Road will now be known as Kiyan Prince Foundation Stadium.
So big respect to his father, and it's very humbling to hear him talk and how inspiring he is for other people as well. And this is definitely something that we need to be supporting and pushing as well. So I really want to encourage everybody to go over to their YouTube channel, the Kiyan Prince Foundation. I'll put a link in the description, and please support and follow for the latest updates, and we'll definitely follow this story and try to bring you any of the positive and constructive stuff that they get up to. So rest in peace to Kiyan Prince, and thank you to his dad for allowing us to learn his story and also to see what his legacy really is. So rest in peace to Kiyan Prince, and I wish them all the best with their foundation in the future, and big respect to Queen's Park Rangers. I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and follow us on socials. Peace.
Someone that listens. Kiyan was a good student, worked hard. I push him to do things, and he'd work hard. A lovely son to his mum. I watched him and his mum's relationship. Very funny, real team player. If there was any fights that would break out, it's funny because Kiyan was the one that was always breaking it out. So it's really ironic that you find out how he got killed was breaking up a fight. Just ugly and shocking as anyone would imagine that it would. Just like how a nightmare unfolds. 1 minute you're doing something that you plan to do for the day, and next minute you get news that cuts into all your plans for the day, and your whole world just gets flipped upside down on its head. That's how the whole journey began, and it just gets uglier and uglier as the pages of the experience gets turned. It just turns from one bad picture in your head to another until it really sinks in and becomes reality when the doctor comes out and says, I couldn't bring your son's